Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. The truth about the LeBron James era. We're going to talk about LeBron James and his era of guys, okay? Wow. Sometimes I don't even know where to start. It's so deep because the NBA really died at this point, right? It was really dead after the '04 Olympics, right? It was dead. There was nothing else to talk about. You know, we remember hearing this stuff about the world caught up to us, right? They say the world caught up to us. D Wade, you got LeBron James, you got Carlos Boozer, Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson, you got Tim Duncan, you got, I think Starberry was on that team. Woof. These type of guys lost. They lost in the Olympics the first time it had ever happened. And let me tell you how bad this is. Manu Ginobili, a six-man, won the gold medal with his Argentinians. No, hold on real quick. A six-man, Manu Ginobili, won the gold medal with his Argentinians that wasn't even in the NBA. Okay, I think I remember like one of them was in the NBA, and I think he was a bench player, Scola or something like that. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is kind of like, let's rewind it back, right? This will be the equivalent, because you remember, you know, kind of that dream team that, it wasn't a dream team, my fault. The '84 Olympic teams with all those good players on there. Michael Jordan, I think Patrick Ewing was on that team. If I'm not mistaken, I think John Stockton was on that team. Chris Mullin, you know, let's just say those type of guys that was in the same draft with Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? The was Karl Malone in there? I'm not sure if Karl Malone was in there. I think Karl Malone was in there. Charles Barkley. Let's just say these guys right here: Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Ewing, Stockton, Chris Mullin. Are you really serious? Did I say Barkley? These type of guys, they're gonna lose to Manu Ginobili? Really? Really? They're going to lose to Manu Ginobili, a six-man, a dude who can't even start with a bunch of dudes who ain't even in the NBA. And they didn't even get second place. So they wasn't even good enough against international. They got beat by international plumbers. So when they try to tell us that the world caught up to us, they're pretty much saying the NBA was dead back then. It was dead. And then if we fast forward it to about 2006 when they went to the FIBA, they got curb stomped again, right? So their excuse again is the world caught up to them. And this time they got beat by some sewer workers. They got beat by Greece sewer workers, like Two Raw for Sports likes to say. Nobody even knows who these guys were that beat them from Greece. They weren't in the NBA. And these guys already had time under their belt in the NBA. Wade had already won a championship with Shaq. Was it Finals MVP? I mean, what's going on here, bro? This would be like, what? It would be the same thing. Jordan's, third or fourth year, he would be getting curb stomped by Greece sewer workers? With Barkley on the team, Malone on the team, Stockton on the team. Yeah, Hakeem would be on the team. Are you serious? Look, man, the NBA died, was done after Michael Jordan left. It was on life support, right? When we look at the ratings in the 99 finals, it was horrible. It was nothing like 98. 98 was like 29 million. And I think the year before that was like 25 to 27 million. And every year Jordan was in the finals, it was well over 20 million. Only one year he got 20 million. It was like 25, 27, 24. Only one year he got like 20 million. I think that's the year. I want to say Portland was in there. But yeah, even in the 80s, these dudes was pulling, the Lakers and the Celtics was pulling like 20 and 24 million, right? So it went to 20 million when Shaq was playing, Orlando was playing Houston. But for some reason, nobody wanted to see Houston in New York, really. I think it dipped down to like 12 or something like that. Um, it got up. It took all the way until 2016 for it to hit 20 million again. Okay, with Curry and LeBron. LeBron never even came close to sniffing 12 million, and he still has two of the lowest finals and final viewership ratings in finals history. Right, even with his super team in Miami, nobody wanted to see that. Um, in '07, I think they got like 9 million. It was horrible. So I think in 2001 when they played Philly, they got to 19. But other than that, they never even came close to even getting 20 million until 2016. Because everybody wanted to see Curry. Nobody wants to see LeBron play. So this did not help, right? Because LeBron, this was supposed to be the greatest class of all time, right? It's not. It's one of the worst class of all time. One of the worst. Got Carmelo Anthony. What has he really did? What, I'm not trying to beat up on a guy who was a good shooter. What did he really ever do? I think Wade was a good player, but let's admit it, he kind of benefited from the rule changes, right, in 2005. And let's go ahead and talk about this, about the rule changes, right? After these guys got mollywopped in the '04 finals, '04 Olympics, this really set the stage. This really set the bar for the LeBron era guys, right? Because we had just got done dealing with like Kobe and the Lakers and Shaq with this three-peat, right? They played nobody, right? Nobody really was watching the finals except for '01. They beat up on the old Pacers team that, get out of here. They beat up on a New Jersey team. What they played? What did they play New Jersey one year? If I'm not mistaken. Give me a break. Give me a break. They had Richard. Not Rich, I think they had him, but they had, what's this guy's name? Jason Kidd. Great player. That's all they had. So why the ratings were so bad, because nobody was dumb. It wasn't no competition. Okay, as much as they talk about the Jazz today and them being so-called plumbers, everybody wanted to see the Jazz play. The Jazz set records in '97 and '98 in the NBA Finals. Okay, it wasn't just because of the Bulls. It was because of the Jazz. People respected that team. People loved John Stockton and Karl Malone back then. You guys don't get it, and that's why they got to trash these guys now, right? It wasn't just because of Michael Jordan. If it was just because of Michael Jordan, how come they didn't have record? How come it didn't break the record in '93 or '92 or '96? It was '97 and '98 finals. People loved the Jazz. They respected that team, right? So yeah, Shaq and Kobe played nobody. They destroyed 3 teams in a row playing nobody. It was like no competition. Shaq was just playing nobody. And a lot of people really didn't like Kobe because they was like, bro, nobody's going to ever be like Michael Jordan. He was good, but, Kobe, he was arrogant too, because he was a rich boy. And he came into the league. And I'm not going to say, I don't want to beat up on Kobe too bad, but to me, after the 2005 rule changes, he really didn't have to play like Michael Jordan no more. That it really wasn't the same as Michael Jordan had to play that type of style because of the defense in the league. It was great big men in the league, power forwards, centers, and stuff like that back in the '90s and the '80s. So this is how Jordan really had to play even though this was his style, but this is really how he had to play to be that great as a guard. I think Kobe was, you know, he kind of like emulated that all his life, so I think that was in his blood. But I mean, the league had got so much easier. He really didn't have to play like that. The crazy fadeaways and all that stuff like Michael Jordan, because he still was young. You know what I'm saying? Jordan really didn't do too much of this fadeaway stuff you know, until he got like in the 90s, especially in the second 3P and stuff like that. So let me keep going. So yeah, we saw after this '04 Olympics that the league would never be the same again, right? And that these guys got beat by international plumbers. And LeBron James was supposed to be the next of the next, right? So this was already, he goes from, well, he's supposed to be the king, the next Michael Jordan, the biggest thing ever. Now, remember, if this happened to Michael Jordan coming into the league, I'm going to compare this, because we know what Michael Jordan came in the league, busted up the Boston Celtics, led his team in 4 statistical categories, never been done before as a rookie, broke his foot next year, came back, well, the same season, came back, set a playoff record against the Boston Celtics, and then we got 87. We know what he did in 87 and still didn't win an MVP. 80, what was it, 80? Yeah, 87, he didn't win that MVP, came back the next year even stronger and did the same thing, but a little bit better, won the MVP. Yes, he was losing in the playoffs, but against 3 to 5 Hall of Famers, it was nuts. So nobody expected this guy to even, in the best of 5 series, nobody expected him to even win a game just by himself. So let's compare that to when LeBron came in the league, right? Because this is what people got to understand too. A lot of this stuff had to do with, who's this? Grant Hill, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady. These guys like this was supposed to also be in the 2000s and take the league above and beyond. But these guys either got hurt or they really didn't reach their potential like they were supposed to. And Vince Carter too. So these guys was supposed to be taking over the 2000s with Tim Duncan and with Kobe Bryant and with Shaq too. Shaq, he messed up because he started eating himself to death. So these guys were supposed to be the guys with, Carmelo Anthony and LeBron and stuff like this. But let's get back to LeBron. So he comes in the league. He shoots 41% his rookie year, minus 144 for the season. Doesn't make the All-Star team. Doesn't make the playoffs. For some reason, he's in the Olympics now. Loses that. Next season, doesn't make the playoffs with an All-Star teammate. 2005 finally makes the 2005-2006 finally makes the playoffs because they changed the rules in this. You can see why they changed the rules right here and there. This guy could not make the playoffs. It was that bad, right? No hand checking, no elbows in the post, blah, blah, blah. Am I saying that went away right away? No, but it really did make a difference, right? Melts down, takes a 3-2 lead, going back home against the Pistons, melt down in games 5 and 6, right? Go look at the percentages, plus, minus, everything. Free throws, field goal percentage. That was his first meltdown in the playoffs. He didn't choke because he wasn't expected to win, right? '07, he makes the finals. Remember, he had only been in the playoffs one time before that and makes the finals. You guys think that's good? That's horrible. It's showing how weak the league is, right? In the 80s and 90s, you better have 2 to 3 Hall of Famers on one team in the 80s just to make the finals. But this is how weak it is, right? We know who he beat just to get to the finals, right? And then he got smashed in the finals. He melted down. Go look at his averages and everything like that. Remember, they're going to say he was young, but Michael Jordan wasn't melting down when he was young against 5 Hall of Famers against the Celtics. We don't expect you to win, but why are you melting down? We go to '08, right? He faced his first super team. He melts down again. Go look at the averages and the percentages. I've never seen nothing like that. That was coming off of '07 finals. He melts down against Boston in the super team, right? '09, '10, he gets the number 1 seed in the whole NBA. In the whole NBA. And he gets the MVP. Imagine that happening in the 80s, right? This guy just melted down like 3 seasons in a row, right? Has nobody on his team, has an old Shaq or whatever like that, has an old Ben Wallace, and has the number 1 seed in the whole NBA. This is crazy. That could never happen in the 80s and 90s, but it's showing you how weak this era really is, right? That's not possible in the 80s and 90s, right? So he melts down in both of those years, '09 and '10, winning the MVP over this super team, right? Boston Celtics. Who Boston was like the number 3 and number 4 seed, I think, in '04, '09 and '10, right? He melts down and then he loses in both years, to Boston, Orlando, and then he builds a super team. So this league has been awful, awful, awful. And that's why they had to start these debate groups. Nobody was watching this trash. You could not do nothing like this in the 80s and 90s. Dudes was playing with their own teams. They wasn't melting down like this. It was real rivalries. We wasn't getting beat internationally. Some dude wasn't just sucking coming into the league, melting down, not making the playoffs, and then the next year he's in the finals. That'd be like Michael Jordan in the finals his 4th season. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen in the 80s or the 90s. I mean, it's just insane, bro. So you guys tell me what you think, man. And it just went on from there. And I talked about in the last video, the league had to destroy their own league, right? They had to, like Domino's Pizza, they had to talk bad about their own past players just to start selling this weak era, right? Nobody's watching it. Go look at the ratings. They're getting beat out by women's college basketball now. So they had to bring in all these international players too, because just to get international ratings. Nobody is watching this stuff. The LeBron era was garbage.